Jesus alone. What must I do when worldliness calls me? What must I do when tempted to sin? I must tell Jesus, and He will help me over the world, victory to win. I must tell Jesus, I must tell Jesus, I cannot be. My burdens are low. I must tell Jesus. I must tell Jesus. Jesus can help me. Jesus can help.
It's good afternoon, my viewers and listeners to Rebel Radio. I want to welcome you all to another in our series of live programs, And, we want to start our discussion this evening by we want to talk about corruption and politics in Jamaica. Because everybody by now would have known about the referral of the Prime Minister for a corruption probe. And yesterday the corruption agency reported that they could not file any charges against the Prime Minister. And they indicated that, it's not that there was evidence, but they did not have enough evidence to file charges against the Prime Minister. Now, arising from that, there were a lot of calls for the Integrity Commission, action to be taken against the Integrity Commission. But the Integrity Commission issued a statement. And when I read that statement, it is clear that no heads can be rolled at the Integrity Commission. Because there was one of the charges against the Integrity Commission was that they issued a report indicating that the Prime Minister was had committed breaches, corruption breaches, and after that the report was tabled in the House of Representatives, and then it was sent to the Director of Corruption Prosecution. That's another department of the Integrity Commission. But as it turned out, that that department, the Corruption Prosecution Department, had already made its report on January 12th. But according to the Integrity Commission, they couldn't send they couldn't issue both reports together because the law did not permit them to do that. We have with us popular journalists, well-known journalists, and Lloyd Dageler, who has been arguing, he has been fighting, he has been pushing the point, the anti-corruption agenda. Lloyd, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yes.
One?
Well, I'm supposed to be okay.
Good, good.
So I know you have been following up what happened since yesterday.
Yes.
And so, what is your understanding of what has happened?
Well, a lot of questions are being asked about the Integrity Commission. How come when they released the investigation report, they didn't also release the position of the prosecution director, that the prosecutor didn't see any basis upon which to prosecute Mr. Holness. Now, those are reasonable questions to ask. I'm not sure that the Integrity Commission has fully responded to that question. But I believe, though, that the most important thing is the report itself. And I don't believe that the report fully exonerates Mr. Holness. It may, the prosecutor may be saying, well, we don't have enough evidence, to prosecute. But that doesn't mean that there are issues which arise based upon the investigation. And so we must take that into consideration before we come to any conclusion and totally exonerate Mr. Holness. Now, let me say this. In 2016, 18 Degrees North, which did release a TV report on the same issues that we are talking about. 18 Degrees North, led by Zara Burton, did a very extensive report on the matter, and I believe it laid the basis for several questions about Mr. Holness and how he financed his house, his castle, and all those kind of issues. And a lot of the questions that are now being raised were actually brought to light by her. I'll go further to say that the response of Mr. Holness was to take legal action against 18 Degrees North. And it is my understanding that he never carried it right through. He never sued her, never got any money from her. And so therefore they came to a resolution, obviously. But it wasn't one where Mr. Holness chose to take the matter to court to demonstrate to the people of Jamaica that what was being said about him was a bunch of lies. He never did that. And part of the agreement between himself and 18 Degrees North was that the program would again be broadcast on TVJ. It has not been broadcast on TVJ. My understanding, it's a personal matter between 18 Degrees North and TVJ. But the point is that that was part of the agreement with Holness and the court, that the program would be rebroadcast again. And I believe that it should be rebroadcast again, and we see the thing in a broader perspective. And so for people to therefore draw the conclusion that the Integrity Commission has, messed up and they shouldn't have done this and they shouldn't have done that, I think we need to be a little bit more careful that, yes, they may not have done it the right way. They may not have produced the two reports at the same time. But, genuine issues are raised about the relationship between Mr. Holness and the head of Westcon and so on. You know, he's somebody he knew for over 20 years. They had a business relationship. The gentleman worked in his constituency, etc., etc. And,
but
you know, there's such a thing as cronyism and nepotism, which is a very subtle thing in Jamaican politics.
Yeah, but Lloyd, have you seen the Integrity Commission's response to have you seen their official statement?
Well, I have been reading excerpts in the newspaper, but I haven't, to be honest with you, gone through their statement in a detailed kind of way.
Well, I have seen
yes.
it. I have seen it,
Yes.
and they gave a detailed response to all the charges. And one of the things they pointed out is that both reports could not have been submitted at the same time based on the existing laws that they operate, that governs them.
Okay.
Right? And therefore, that charge, and because that is what has been raised by a number of public commentators, that they are questioning why both reports were not tabled in the House at the same time when
Yes.
the response from the prosecution branch of the Integrity Commission Department had made its decision from as early as January.
Yes.
Right? But they have given and they have outlined, quoting the law, why they could not have done that.
Okay.
Yes. And, but you raise a point a while ago, which I think is relevant. That you see, one of the things that need to be done is, as far as the Integrity Commission is concerned, I think I don't know if they are short of staff, but they need to speed up investigations, because remember now, this matter that is before us, these things happen from 2008-9, and we are now in 2023.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So therefore, what I observe is that they are taking too long to investigate these matters. They need to speed up. That is one. And secondly, if the law needs to be amended, then that is what the legislators must look at. So therefore, in order to prevent anything like this happening again, that they must amend the law so that both departments or both reports can be submitted at the same time. The other point is this, that I am in agreement with you that although no charges were laid, that it doesn't mean that the Mr. Holness, the Prime Minister, is completely free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
go ahead.
what we know, is that corruption, these acts are acts which are committed in secret. In other words, both players. For example, you are not going to get the corrupt a contractor to give any statement that would implicate him as being a corrupt player. You are not going to get that. So therefore, it is a difficult matter, and it takes time. Lloyd, just hold. I am going to pause a moment. Give me a small break, right?
Okay, good.
Yes. Don't move.
that you won't mention. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Please, there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry. I'm right up the road and I share your load. If you just call me, yeah, hold on, when you need a friend, call on me.
Yes, we are back with you. And we have been joined by Aishaka Musa Menelik, and a UNIA activist. You are still there, Lloydie?
Yes, I am.
Right. Menelik?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Okay, right, okay. Menelik, we were discussing the whole question of, corruption, politics and corruption. And as you're aware that the Prime Minister was implicated. Report from the Integrity Commission implicated the Prime Minister in a number of corruption charges, which he has since been cleared off by the Director of Corruption Prosecution, which is another department of the Integrity Commission. So myself and Lloydie were discussing it, looking at it, and we both agreed that notwithstanding the fact that he was not charged, but it doesn't mean that the report itself is invalid. What is your take so far on what has that happened with in the Prime Minister case?
Well, what comes to mind is the timeline that the report was not submitted. And if it was done within a certain time frame and not made public knowledge, then to me it is showing some form of cover-up. Mm-hmm. Because the timing of it now is showing that it is something that becomes null and void now.
Yes.
But it will raise the eyebrows of those deep thinkers like myself to say, was there collusion that this report was not made public?
Yeah. No, which should have the report? You're talking the report from the Director of Corruption and Prosecution.
Yes, yes.
Well, I don't know if you have seen the official response from the Integrity Commission, which was issued today. And they have pointed out, quoting the law, why they could not submit both reports at the same time. And so in other words, what they have said is that, yes, the Director of Corruption Prosecution report was made on January, and the report, the Integrity Commission report was submitted to Parliament. I think it was 2 days ago, right? And just like you raised a while ago, the comments from the public is that why both reports were not submitted simultaneously. And the commission, the Integrity Commission this morning quoted the law, and I urge you to get a copy of their statement and read it. They have issued a comprehensive statement clearing themselves. Because when I read it, they have made several points regarding why both reports could not be submitted at the same time.
Well, if those who make the rule will put checks and balances in there to create, give them that space, that buffer zone, that it peter out and become what we call in Jamaica a 9-day wonder.
Yes.
We have to get serious. And if the Prime Minister, when he was accepting the role as Prime Minister, in his swearing in, he said he would not deal with corruption, he would not condone corruption in no shape or form.
Yes, sir.
So when we see these little markers, these little indicators, that is showing that he is not a man of his word.
Yes, yes. Because
we need a clear line of demarcation. Corruption is here, and clean governance is here. This is what we want: clean governance.
Because under his watch, there have been several reports of corruption, and most of them are still out there. They have not been dealt with. Right. So
too numerous to mention. If we start, yeah, it would take up all the program to name them out one by one.
Yes, of course.
So we have to understand that he has broken his word, he has broken his promise, and as we say, a man's word is a man's honor. Mm-hmm. I think the Prime Minister should resign because he has broken his own code of honor when he took office, when he was being sworn in front of the Governor General.
Yes, yes, and that is why we have to support Lloyd's call for the public commission of inquiry into corrupt practices in the government, and he indicated that he has written to the Prime Minister and all MPs and senators, and to date he has not received a response from nobody in the political directorate, because they don't want to come clean on these matter. The other thing, gentlemen, there is a practice right now where members of parliament are asked, it is part of the system, where they are asked to make recommendations for contractors whenever there is work in their constituency. And as a matter of fact, the funds, the CDF funds, they are the ones who make recommend the contractors. Now, that is an issue that I think they want some attention to.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me just say that you mentioned the need for a commission of inquiry, or our demand for a commission of inquiry into corruption, a people's commission of inquiry into corruption, and it is necessary because what happens is that in a case like this, it is so easy to wiggle around and wiggle around and wiggle around, and we don't get the answers that we really need. Now, as you were saying before, the Integrity Commission have said the investigator is independent and the prosecutor is independent. So they have to submit the report by the investigator, and then they submit the report by the prosecutor. So if both of them don't agree with each other, so be it. But it is their duty legally to submit both reports, even if the prosecutor had said, well, I don't see enough evidence. But if you look at what the prosecutor is saying, is not that the prosecutor is saying there are no issues involved. The prosecutor is just saying, boy, I don't know if I'll be able to succeed if I go to court.
Yes.
Now, when police kill people, the director of public prosecution sometimes say that to you. Right?
Yes.
The people out there on the streets say, boy, I miss when the policeman killed the person, blah, blah, blah. But she's saying, boy, we don't know if we'll be able to succeed in a court of law. And I think there's a flaw, there's a legal flaw where that is concerned. Because if there is reason to believe that this matter should be brought before the court, if the director of public prosecution feel that she won't be successful, that is beside the point. The point is that the matter, let the judge, let the court, let the jury decide whether the allegation is correct, and the person who's alleged to have committed the crime should be convicted. So I believe that this is a way in which the people who are in control of prosecution are able to let, allegations against big officials like the Prime Minister to get away with it. And so now the other side will come back. Them say, boy, PNP said that, the Prime Minister should take a break. And they're cussing out the Prime Minister, the opposition, and it's back and forth discussing. But if we have a public commission of inquiry, we will sit down the Prime Minister, we will sit down the investigator, we will sit down the prosecutor, and we will ask them questions so that the public as a whole can understand what is going on, and we can make our decision as to whether this is corruption or not. We are the jury where corruption is concerned, and we are the one that is going to decide what is the penalty, whether you relinquish office or you be sent to prison for having stolen people's money and enrich yourself at the expense of the people. So this is a legalistic kind of way in which they're back and forth between each other. But this is a very serious issue that has been raised, and we as the public shouldn't just say, well, boy, them violating or, them never do the right thing or whatever it is. They're serious allegations. We must remember that there was Miss Lisa Hanna, that the other day there was a, report to the Director of Public Prosecutions about cronyism and nepotism in the same constituency development fund thing in her constituency where her husband was supposed to have gotten money. And the DPP said, well, boy, it don't look good, it don't look good, it don't look good. But guess what? Cronyism is legal. It is not illegal. Do you understand? So we, the public, say, well, boy, if you bring your mother, your father, your wife, your uncle, your husband, and I give them contract, well, we don't believe that is right. You understand? Yeah. So this is what is going on in this case, and that is why we are saying we need a People's Commission of Inquiry into state corruption, because they steal about $750 million US, which is billions of Jamaican dollars. And we need to investigate that, sit them down publicly, ask them questions, and see how they pocketed the money, etc., etc. Because when they pocket the money, education is underfunded, health is underfunded, and all the other types of social services are underfunded as well. It is a very, very serious matter.
Yes, of course. And Menelik?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, the whole aspect of corruption, the nation suffer, the people suffer. But what I find very weird is that the office of the public defender was there, that any constitutional breach that is impacted, where the Constitution has been abridged, this office should jump into action. But I noticed a deafening silence from the Office of the Public Defender.
Well, listen, I mean, the Public Defender doesn't have the powers that the Integrity Commission have. And the Integrity Commission is more silent than the Public Defender, because the Integrity Commission, when Mr. Holness or any other politician give them their financial statement and it's incomplete and whatever, they cannot come to us and say, well, boy, we're having a problem with this financial statement or that financial statement. They don't give us the details, etc., etc. They were set up specifically to deal with corruption, and their shortcomings in terms of how they operate. And it was deliberately done so that Integrity Commission is there to protect the politicians, the parliamentarians, and many other people. So therefore, maybe we need to get rid of the Integrity Commission, or to revamp it, or to rewrite the rules and regulations governing it. But the politicians are benefiting from the shortcomings and the deficiencies in the Integrity Commission. This is a corruption investigator, and they are deficient.
Very much so. And you know, one other thing with the Constituency Development Fund, I have been calling since 2010. I've been calling that we get rid of the politician control in that development fund.
Absolutely.
And put it into the hands of the people.
Absolutely.
We can have, through our churches, our service clubs, and the different organizations, Citizens Association, we pick a group from that and create what we call a constituency management committee who would be in charge of disbursing these funds instead of the politician.
Absolutely. We need community councils. We need communities to begin to run their lives, to sit down to elect their own members and discuss their communities and decide what is needed, what should be done, and how to deal with crime. If you even have community policing as well, that is also part of it. Because the parliament is not answerable to the people. The politicians are not answerable to the people. They're not accountable. And so therefore, we the people in the communities have to begin to get ourselves together, and we have to begin to see how we can use our strength and so on and so forth to run our affairs. That is very, very necessary.
Yeah.
Very, very necessary.
And I'm sure you gentlemen would like to see changes also with as it relates to the what exists now, where the politicians have this, where they are authorized to make recommendations about for contractors on work in their constituency, and this also applied to contracts for work under the Constituency Development Fund. I think.
Well, you mean the Prime Minister is not denying, that he recommended, the gentleman from his company to jobs from the SDC and so on and so forth. He said that it is his job to make recommendations.
Yeah,
that he's doing that.
Yes.
So he can say it's legal. It's legal on my part. I did what was legal.
Yeah, no, I am saying that it applies to all MPs,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and
but they get away with it.
Yeah, therefore we think that should be changed.
Absolutely.
Don't you think so?
Very much so. That is a blatant conflict of interest.
Yes.
And, as when I was being trained as a justice of the peace, I remember the Honorable Lindsay Wolf looked at me and said, justice must not only be done, but seems inherently to be done.
Yes.
So if you know you are a part of a company, you should not in any way try to recommend that company getting a contract. It's conflict of interest. Mm-hmm. In the court, if a family member come before me to be tried, I have to recuse myself from that case.
Of course.
Because I might act in a partisan manner because of the family member in front of me.
Mm. Yes.
Remember in the case of Christopherson, he and this lady, they were in the same company.
Yes.
And the company got contracts from the Ministry of Health. Mm-hmm. And there was also an allegation that the two of them were having an affair.
Yes.
Right? They were having an affair, but nothing came of it. Absolutely nothing came of it.
No.
Nothing came of it.
The fact is that there is a lot of tidying up. There's a lot of work needs to be done in Jamaica as it regards to how acts of corruption should be done. We need the existing play field, the existing rules and regulations needs to be tightened, because there are so many loopholes which the public officials can use to commit corrupt act, to siphon off public funds.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely. Then they know first of all, they are the ones that make the laws, and when they make the law, they know what the deficiencies are, and so they are able to exploit the deficiencies when time comes.
Yes.
It's just, again, I make the comparison between corruption and police extrajudicial killings. There is impunity for police extrajudicial killings, and there is impunity for state corruption.
Yes.
There is only, if memory serves me right, there's only one politician in the history of Jamaica that has ever gone to jail for corruption, and it's way back when doing the farm work business. And you can count on one hand the number of policemen who have ever been convicted for police extrajudicial killings. And we know they admit that it is a policy. The Prime Minister has admitted that police extrajudicial killings is a policy of state under different governments.
Yeah.
And nothing is done about it because there is impunity for it, and they know how to exploit it.
Yeah.
Right?
One of the things, though, I can make a correction. I think 2 other politicians have gone to jail for corrupt practices. 2.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.
The one that stands out in my mind
would be Jack Smith. Yeah. But you know something,
that is the one.
I want to also point out is that I observe, based on pronouncements and how these hacks were dealt with. When Bustamante and Norman Manley, they dealt with their attitude. They had a different attitude towards corruption, you know. In other words, under their rule, members of parliament and ministers, they didn't have these leaders they were not so cozy. They were very harsh against corrupt practices, you know. In other words, they were not tolerant. They were not tolerant.
Well, listen, I mean, that is the 62 is independence and so on. Yeah. So, yeah, it takes a little while, but after a while it evolves, you know, and it evolves into more and more and more corruption, not less and less corruption. But remember also that under Manley and Bustamante, Rastafarians in this country had a warm time with both of them, right?
Yes.
To the point where the Coral Gardens massacre that took place, etc., etc. So there is a connection between public sector corruption and corruption where violence is concerned. And both of them where, that kind of thing was concerned. Both of them were complicit in using state violence against, Rastafarians and other people.
Yes.
Very much so. Very much so. One of the things that I've been looking at also, it is the BUY election. Yes. Most of these elections to bring these officials into office are really bought, and it goes against the grain of the Constitution. And if we study the Constitution, even if you give a man a T-shirt in the color of your party, you are going against the law. Yes. It is an enticement. Yes. And we do it wantonly without any fear or favor. So the time has come now when we have to take to task and even to take them to the Constitutional Court to say this BUY election must stop.
Yes, sir.
You must speak to the people and tell them what you will do in your manifesto. But don't go about giving people money and trinkets for them to vote for you. It's against the law. And we need to remind the public that this practice is against the law.
Yes.
But listen, even though it's against the law, right, and they do give money, drop a little 1,000 here and a 5,000 there and so on and so forth, it's only 30% of the people who voted in the last election, 30-some%.
Yes.
So despite all the money that them give out, the vast majority of the people, or the overwhelming majority of the people, are not into this electoral system because they know it's fraudulent, they know it doesn't represent them, and they know that when the issues come up, the politicians are nowhere to be seen. People say it all the while. We have bad roads, we have bad water condition, we have electricity problem, we have education problem, and we don't see the MP at all. The only time we see him is when election time come and him walk around and him drop 1,000 here and drop 1,000 here. So our political system has to change. We have to begin to deal with that. We can't have this kind of indirect democracy that we have here, where you elect somebody for 5 years and then, you only see them again the next 5 years, and you have no control over what goes on in the parliament at all. We need direct democracy, where the people are saying, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and this is what we should do, etc., etc. The people must be the ones that have the power, because they are the ones that give power to the politicians, and if they need to take power back from them, they should have that power to do that.
Yes.
My Lord, we shouldn't have to wait 5 years. We should have a system of recall that if you are not functioning in your capacity as a representative of the people, because that is what you really are, a representative of the people, then you must be recalled before the 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So this is what they call indirect democracy. We want direct democracy, where the people can say, well, this is what we want today, and we need it, and we're going to get it, and we're going to change it, and you have the power to do it. So we can't just depend on this parliamentary system. This parliamentary system is corrupt. It is not representative of the people. It's not direct democracy. It is a dictatorship of a handful of people elected as representatives over the vast majority of us.
Yes.
Very much so. And I would like to bring the Governor General into sharp focus also, because that Governor General has a duty also. He can dissolve Parliament. Now, I'll show you something that happened that I spoke about at a recent Rotarian function. A man went into King's House property and took some acres valued at, I think they said, about $1,000. That man went before the court and was sentenced to prison, to spend, I think, 18 months in prison. It cost taxpayers $2.7 million to keep that one man in prison for 18 months for taking $1,000 worth of ackee. Does that make sense?
No.
The Governor General could have offered a pardon to that man instead of letting him go to prison for 18 months. And the Governor General did nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, the Governor General, is a ceremonial head of state. He's not an executive head of state. No. So he abides by what the court says, by what the politician said, the prime minister. He's just there to sign.
No, he has the power to pardon.
I know, but he realizes or he accepts that he's just ceremonial, and that's all that he cares about is to get a salary at the end of the month or the end of the year and live a big life. And he couldn't care less.
The first time that I knew that they had that power was Flores El Gaspol, when he pardoned Marcus Garvey and erased the record for Marcus Garvey's slate.
Yeah, but hold on now. But he's erasing it after Marcus Garvey has died. You understand? If Marcus Garvey was alive when the Governor General was alive, would he have pardoned Marcus Garvey? I don't very much.
He didn't do it. He didn't do it. But that is when I realized that he has that power. I didn't know before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that they can only do it ceremonially. Marcus Garvey is dead, right? If he was alive when Marcus Garvey was alive, would he have said, "Boy, Marcus, them oppressing you, them exploiting you, them using violence against you, and we're going to pardon you right now"? No, I doubt it very much.
No, he didn't go up against the colonial master.
Exactly.
Yes, gentlemen. Really, we need to make some serious changes. We need to make, because what we have now, it is obvious that it is not working. The people are not voting. The people right now, it is clear based on how the people poll their vote. It is clear that they have lost interest because.
Boy, let me tell you something, man. I take public transportation, you know, and you hear some of the conversation that is going on in public transportation. I mean, overwhelmingly, the vast majority of the people just see the system as corrupt, oppressive, violent, and, you know, you should listen to some of the things that the people out there have to say. And if these people had an opportunity to express themselves, boy, I think we would be like, we have to be like Sam Sharp.
Yeah.
Sam Sharp says, I'm not going to live as a slave anymore. You understand? I am not going to live as a slave. And we are living as a slaves to this system.
Yes.
And the vast majority of the people don't like it. And they want change. And we have to begin to talk about change and how we're going to change it.
Well, I tell you, I am looking for that silver bullet and I can't find it. Because if 70% of the people is not for the PNP or the JLP, and if a third political force comes into play, I don't see that 70% manifested in itself when we contested the 2010 by-election in St. Anne. We got only 2,000 votes out of 30,000 in the constituency.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because you could match the money that the two political parties have to buy votes.
Yeah.
Because you must remember, you know, the private sector is the one that gives the political parties the money. They give them millions of dollars and they don't even report it sometimes that they gave them money. Even the electoral law, it's only when an election is called and the private sector gives them money that they are obliged to report it. Yeah. But I think that they're smart enough to know that you give them money before an election is called and you give them sufficient to do what is needed to be done when the election is called. And that's how it works. So if you're going to challenge them in the normal electoral way, you have a difficult task ahead of you. Yeah. Because you can't match the kind of money that them have, and they know to buy the vote.
It is a hard road.
Well, here comes the Integrity Commission again. We need to inspect the books of the political parties to see how, when, and where these donations come from, and in what quantity.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but you see, that is why we need the People's Commission of Inquiry, because we can do that. Because when you check out the company's office and all the other offices that get reports from companies and owned by politicians and charities set up, and even the Electoral Commission, etc., you find that there is a lot of under-reporting. They're supposed to give reports annually. They don't give any reports. They don't give any report about the money they receive, how they spent it. I'm telling you, it is incredible.
Yeah.
Even when an election is run, I contested 3 elections. And I had to make a report of how much I spent during my campaigning.
Yes.
Yes.
And I remember one of my opponents submitted that they didn't spend any money.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, we have to leave it there today.
Okay.
Let us say to be continued, because matters like these can't be just discussed one time. We have to continue. We have to keep on discussing them and coming up with solutions to how we are going to.
So.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Very much so.
Lloyd
all
Dageler.
All the best to you.
Yes.
All the best.
Aishaka Musa Menelik. And
all the best.
Thank you very much.
All right. Good.
Yes, that was a discussion on politics, corruption in our politics. And this is something that we have to continue to discuss. Let us take a break. We'll be back shortly. Yes, yes, yes. We're back with you. Mr. Patterson?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Yeah, we have with us the president, the leader of the United Independence Congress, Mr. Joseph Patterson. And we are going to be talking about corruption in our politics, and other political issues, of course. The UIC is our third party that is seeking to lead the country. Yes. Mr. Patterson, I'm sure you are aware of what transpired the last couple of days with the Prime Minister. What is your take on it so far?
Well, so far it would appear as though I'm getting a little bit of a feedback in my thing here. I'm not sure why. I'm hearing myself.
Yeah.
Is there a way to fix that? I'm not sure.
There's some feedback in my mic too. I don't know.
Okay, there's an echo. No problem. Yeah. I'll try to speak over it.
Yes.
So what I've seen so far is that the Integrity Commission has followed procedures, but the procedures which the Electoral Commission has followed is different from the one that the parliamentarians seem to be aware of.
Yes.
In other words, our parliamentarians have made laws and overseen the formation of regulations, and then they themselves have forgotten how those laws and regulations work.
Yes.
And as a result, they're seeking to vilify the staff of the Integrity Commission for following the laws and regulations that our parliamentarians have laid down for them to follow.
Yes, sir.
And they have solicited and gotten the support of the PSOJ to similarly come down hard on the staff of the Integrity Commission, even suggesting the need for resignation, when what they should be saying is, oh my God, our parliamentarians, our lawmakers seem to be out of touch with the very laws that they have put in place.
Yes.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yes, that is exactly what I have seen myself, because I saw a statement from the Integrity Commission, and they outlined the laws and how they follow the law, and I don't see they were in breach of anything.
No, they have done exactly what lawmakers have asked of them. Yeah. But you see, what I think they did wrong, as far as the lawmakers are concerned, is they decided not to treat the Prime Minister in a special way.
Yes. Yes. That is it. That is it, sir.
They should have violated the rules in order to treat the Prime Minister differently from what the law and regulations prescribe.
Yes. And nobody, how we know it in Jamaica is that the law is the law. Nobody is bigger than the law.
That's the way it should be.
Yes.
But in practice, we all know that some people in Jamaica are bigger than the law.
Of course.
And so in this one instant, when the law was applied equally and to the letter of the law, then they now want to barbecue, if not crucify, those who are simply following the law.
There we go. There we go, sir. There we go. There we go. And that is, as you said a while ago, I have to agree with you totally. How the laws in Jamaica, how they are executed, is that they are executed in a way. In other words, you can get justice in Jamaica. Justice is for sale in Jamaica, you know.
Absolutely.
right? And this is, I don't know if a lot of people see and will understand it, but let me explain. If you are in problems and you can acquire the services of the big QCs, then you're in a different position from somebody who can't afford a lawyer.
Absolutely.
Right? And
Yes.
therefore your chances before the court is different from mine who have 2 and 3 QCs defending me. Right?
Exactly.
And so justice is for the rich. Yes.
Yes, our justice system in Jamaica. Well, let me rephrase it. The justice system under the UIC system, the one that we will put in place, is that it must be fully accessible and equally accessible to the poor as it is for the rich.
Yes.
That's our approach.
Yeah. Yes. We badly need that.
Yes.
Yes. Because right now there are many people, many people. When the poor man has to deal with the court, he's exposed, totally exposed, and his chance of getting justice is different from the person who has the money, right? And therefore, the justice is for sale, right?
And that is a flaw. That is a systemic flaw in the system, because what they do, or what they did, they designed a system which on the surface suggests that we have justice, but in practice denies justice to those who are poor and marginalized.
Yes.
So it's only a form of justice, but not substantive justice.
There we go, sir. Yeah. No. So what the UIC, the existing corruption laws, anti-corruption laws that we have, are they, in other words, the UIC, what the UIC will do about these laws?
All right. One of the things that we over the years being this problem is that we have too many laws and it's too complex.
Yes.
And that volume of laws and unnecessary complexity of laws creates injustice in and of itself.
Yes.
Because the small man doesn't know his right and the big man has the money to pay to protect him even when he's wrong. So what the UIC wants to do with our laws and justice system is to take a step back and to simplify the law. And I'll give you an example. There are only 2 things really that you can do wrong in any society. One of them is force, the use of force or the initiation of force. And the other one is the use of fraud to get your way. So when you come down to it, in every situation, what you're really trying to protect against is for somebody or a group of persons or a government initiating force or using fraud to rob you of your life, your liberty, or your property, or attempting to do so. So you don't need a whole plethora of laws. What you need is a systematization of what I just described, which is to say, has this person initiated force or fraud to infringe on the life, liberty, or property rights of anyone else? You don't have to dissect it into whether it's using a car or a truck or a gun or a knife or a machete. The fact that the person has engaged in the use of force or fraud to infringe on or deny somebody of their life, liberty, or property, then they have broken the law.
Yes.
And so we need to step back and look at our justice system. We've just simply taken carte blanche what the Europeans have defined for us and given to us, and we just keep adding and adding and adding. And if you notice, the more laws we add, the more corrupt the society becomes. I don't know if you notice.
because what we lack is not laws, it's enforcement of laws.
Yes, and most importantly, what we lack is a moral basis for law, a moral understanding which even a child can understand. Right now, most of us in Jamaica, young people and old, don't really know what the law is because there's so many laws. If you breathe, you might break the law.
Yes.
So walking around, we don't know what we should or shouldn't do. We know some things, but we don't have a clear understanding because there's so many. What you need is a foundation, a first principle that you begin with, and then you build from there. And that first principle, according to the UIC, is that everyone has a right to be free. And because of that, you have a right to do with your life, your liberty, and your property as you see fit, provided you do not initiate force or use fraud to infringe on the life, liberty, or property of somebody else.
Yes,
that is the first principle. Now, if we begin with that, you can build a very, very effective society, because even the baby on the breast, exaggerating here, can understand that principle, that first principle. And then all your laws now are built on top of that. All your regulations are built on top of that. And so no prime minister can get off by using some excuses that, well, everybody is doing it, or it's commonly understood, or because the very laws of the country would not have allowed him to even think that he can get away with that.
Okay. Yeah. One of Mr. Patterson, one of the issue at hand right now is members of parliament can make recommendations so a contract is going to be done in his constituency, his or her constituency. They can make recommendations for the contractor, which contractor gets the job. And this is applicable with Constituency Development Fund. That fund that is allocated to MPs, they are the ones who make recommendations. Don't you think it's time for us to change that?
We should never have had it in the first place.
Yes.
It is an instrument of corruption in itself. It is what you call legalizing or systematizing corruption.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. An MP and a senator should have nothing to do with the awarding of contract, period.
Yes.
Period. Their job is to provide oversight. Yes. So when you have a proper government, when you have good governance, here's what it looks like. The executive branch of government is 100% separated from the legislative branch of government. Do you understand?
Yes.
And so what you would have is the ministry, which would be staffed by people who are not politicians per se, and would be qualified and competent to carry out assessments and all that kind of stuff, and oversee bidding for contracts and all that kind of stuff. And now the representatives now, their job is to observe closely how the executive branch of government is functioning and to call them out at any point where they go astray, to question every transaction at the macro level, of course, to question programs and policies, and to vote on laws and regulation.
Yes.
Not to get involved now in the executive function of government.
Yes.
And when you separate the two, what you get now is proper checks and balances, which is why the UIC, our proposal, our new constitution, will have MPs having nothing to do with being a minister of government or having any function in the execution of any policy of government. Their job is to provide representation for the people and to provide oversight to hold the executive branch accountable for doing what the people have instructed them and which they have voted on And now it has become law or policy, and their job is to see to it that it is being done properly, not to get involved in the doing of it. Because once they get involved in the doing of it, you're now commingling functions and making it harder for them to be objective and to hold each other accountable.
Get you. I get you, right. Because, you know, Mr. Patterson, one of the things that we also have to deal with, the atmosphere in Jamaica, the current atmosphere, the current system that we are using, it is feasible for corruption.
Yes.
Because, for example, when I recommend contractor A for contract, then it is easy for me to get a kickback.
Yes.
And the investigative authorities, it will be difficult for them to find out that, because the contractor is not going to report it.
Yes.
And I am the recipient MP as the recipient of the kickback. I am not going to report it. So it becomes very difficult to investigate. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And in any event, the fact that a minister or a member of parliament is recommending a particular contractor gives that contractor an unfair advantage over those who are not being recommended.
Yes.
It also means that the minister or the MP in question is also able to victimize other contractors within his constituency, for example. Because if he doesn't recommend this person because he don't like them, or because they didn't vote for him, or because they don't support him, then their chances of being awarded the contract is diminished.
Of course.
So you're allowing the MP and you're allowing the minister to have undue influence in the economy of Jamaica and in the lives of Jamaicans in ways that they should not have.
Yes. Because right as we speak now, there are some contractors who are almost out of business. They are out of business because the JLP is in power and they are not getting contracts.
Exactly.
Because they used to be the recipients of large amount of contracts when the PNP was in power.
Yes.
Right?
So do you see that this is a system of entrenching tribalization?
Of course it is.
And it is systemic, meaning the way the system is designed incentivizes and encourages this kind of behavior, which then results in polarizing the nation and pitting us against each other and creating an environment of tribal nature rather than unifying productive efforts.
Yes, sir. Yes.
That's why we have to change to the system the UIC is proposing.
Yeah.
We have to eliminate this. Yeah.
Yes. What would be the UIC's position on appointments of public officers? So, for example, the commissioners of police, the director of public prosecution. Would you adhere to the existing systems? Are there changes that you would make?
We would most definitely do away with the existing system. Our approach is to make sure that the process for appointing bodies, public bodies and leaders of public bodies or heads of public bodies, is to ensure that the process is transparent. And here's how you achieve that. First of all, you post the position publicly for any Jamaican who feels they're qualified to apply for the position. That's number one. So you don't have a backdoor dealing or you don't have a closed door approach to, for example, appointing the police commissioner. It is open to all applicants who wish to apply. And whether they're living in Jamaica or not, if they're qualified as a Jamaican, they apply. Now, once they apply, this application is made public if the person does not wish to make it confidential, right? So they can make it public. Now the executive branch of government in our system, consisting of the president, the 3 vice presidents, the general secretary and the treasury secretary, would then vet, with the help of their staff, vet these applications, and then from the list of applicants, they send both the list of applicants and the shortlisted list of applicants to the Senate, which in our system would be an independent body. Now remember, in our system, senators are elected, not appointed by the heads of parties, okay? So once you send this shortlisted list to the Senate and say, here are the persons we are recommending for appointment to this position, the Senate would then publicly vet those persons, meaning they will interview them and check their background in a public manner so that we, the citizens, can observe the proceedings and see all the process and votes as they're happening. Then we will now know that the Senate is recommending Tom Jones for Commissioner of Police, and the Senate sends this recommendation now to the House of Representatives, which votes up or down. They don't debate now. They vote whether they agree with the recommendation of the Senate or they disagree. What this will do, Mr. Richards, it will ensure that A, all positions are open to all Jamaicans. B, that it's not the president alone, like we have now the prime minister alone, but it's a core group of executive members who will vet and shortlist and make a recommendation while submitting the entire shortlisted process, as well as all the names who applied and those being recommended to the Senate for Senate review. The Senate then interviews publicly, vets publicly those who are being proposed by the executive branch,
Yes.
and then themselves make a final recommendation to the House whether they believe the proposal should be accepted or rejected. And then the House makes the final decision as the representative of a broad cross-section of the nation as a yes or no. This now ensures that those persons that selected know that they were not selected because they're a friend and company. And the society would have known that it's a transparent process. And the executive leadership would not be in a position to remove them at will, because they have to also go through the same process to remove them as they did to appoint them.
Yeah. So you would do away with the existing Public Service Commission?
Absolutely. Totally not functional and not useful. Because the Public Service Commission, who comprises it? Where did they come from? So our system ensures that the democratic process works. So the senators, having 14 senators, one from each parish, that were elected by the people, not appointed by the prime minister or the opposition leader, but elected by the people in their own right, and having a process that is public, that they follow, gives us, the citizens, confidence that who is being appointed has been properly vetted, and the vetting was public and transparent, so we can all be confident of the final decision.
Okay. And what about appointing judges?
Same process. You must never again allow any procedure other than the one that I've just described for the appointment of very significant senior positions, especially the judiciary. It must be a process where we, the people, see the confirmation process, we see the vetting process. We can turn on our television anytime and go to the respective channel and watch and see, here's a vetting area hearing for this judge or that judge, and we see the process and know that the persons appointed are not just the friend and company of those in office, but rather persons who are there for their own right. They have proven themselves competent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And forgive me, I'm getting a lot of feedback, so I have to be shouting over myself.
Yeah. And what about the existing, say for example, the constabulary force? What would you do with the JCF? You would ban it or what?
No, the JCF needs to change from a police force to a police service. So the whole charter of the police force has to be changed, the whole charter, from the training program to the mandate to the nature of its operation. I'll give you a few examples. One, you must make the police a preventative maintenance program in the country. So the police must be embedded in the community as a part of the community and not something that goes and intervenes in the community. You understand me? Mm-hmm. So there must be community policing in its truest sense. Secondarily, the motto of the police needs to change, and it should say something like to serve, protect, and respect. Mm-hmm. And we emphasize the respect part. So the police does not have the right to disrespect a citizen simply because they suspect the citizen has done something wrong. You understand?
Yes.
So you don't go up, you don't address people in a rude manner. You don't use any form of foul language to anyone. You don't go and manhandle a person without the need to do so, because there are some cases where you have to take down a person. We're not talking about that. But just dealing with citizens on a normal basis, you must be extra respectful and respectable and upstanding so that you can be respected by the people and trusted by the people. And that goes for whether the person lives uptown or downtown, in rural or urban, poor or rich. They must be treated with the utmost of respect at all times and minimal use of force where absolutely necessary.
Yeah. I recall the last time we spoke, you said something about how the army would be deployed.
Yes.
Yes. You know, in other words, you suggested that the army would be given a greater role in protecting our borders.
Yes, they'll be given their rightful role, because the purpose of the police is to deal with internal challenges. The army must never be used for police work. The army must be used to defend our borders. And that means keeping out, for example, illegal guns and ammunition.
Yes.
And so the army must be actively deployed and engaged in routinely protecting our borders at every point, including customs. Mm-hmm. And so if you do that, you're now going to have a very active army, one that is really earning every dollar spent on it, and must be fully engaged in tracking everything coming in and leaving our country, engage in espionage to spy out any enemy of the country that is external to us, and making sure that at the end of the day, we don't have what we have now, which is a free-for-all for guns and ammunition coming in, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And as the head of the army would be chosen and appointed similarly to how the commissioner is.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So all of these positions are going to be so transparent that we, the people, are going to feel that we have a government which is one of the lowest corrupt government in the world. Yeah. We're going to surpass Singapore on the index of a country with the lowest corruption in any area of its administration.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see. And you spoke about, I remember the last time, how you would plan to empower the people by making sure that they have access to land.
Absolutely. This is very critical because, it baffles me. How is it we have politicians talking about they believe in reparation?
Yes.
And they want to call upon the European powers to give us reparation.
Yes.
But what is within their own grasp and their own power, they have not done. It has been within their power since 1962 to today to return the land to the people. And it means then that they don't believe in reparation. Because the land is the easiest form of reparation to give. Because
Yes,
you
of
have
course.
it.
Yes, of course.
So right now, today, if these politicians believe in reparations, they could, this very minute, immediately embark on a massive program to quickly and unequivocally return the land to the people and divest themselves of all government and crown land except for those needed for the buildings that the government has to occupy.
Yes, yes, yes. And, you know, one of the things that I would like you to clarify, what are some of the changes that we would anticipate? How, for example, how does one become qualified to offer himself, herself as an elected member of parliament? What would be the process?
In the new system, in our new system,
Yes, yes.
All right, so in our new system, it's going to be based on your competencies, your experience, and your qualification. So in order for you to be a representative of the people, for example, you can't be a representative if you can't read, for example.
Right.
You can't be a representative if you can't write, if you can't analyze, if you can't comprehend, if you cannot communicate. So we're going to have a good governance course where anyone who wants to be a candidate has to take this good governance course and pass. The course would entail things such as civics, world history, economics, statistics, analytics, things that you would need to be able to engage in comfortably as a representative of the people in order to vote on their behalf when it comes on to legislation and so on. Now, once you have completed that process, you now have to get nominees, persons to sign off on your nomination paper. We're going to make this process a little bit more meaningful by requiring that those who sign your nomination paper give up their votes. Once they sign your paper, they're saying they vote for you, and therefore, when the actual election takes place, they will not be able to vote again. Those votes will count towards you. Once you have submitted that, meaning you have passed the examination, you have demonstrated by your resume and interview that you have the experience in leadership, the experience in management, which may have been through running a business or being an educator or a medical doctor, whatever you are. But you have proven that you have leadership and managerial skills.
Yes.
And you get your nominators. Once you have that, you'll qualify for equal access to radio, television, newspaper, internet, town hall meetings, and public debates. And once you have done that, you will now have completed the process of communicating with your constituents, and they can vote for you with confidence, knowing that you have been properly vetted, your background has been checked, you have demonstrated competence, you have the required nominees, and you have been given equal access to all the media you need to communicate.
Yeah.
This means, in the end, if you are poor, you will not be disadvantaged for your lack of money. And if you are rich, you will not be advantaged because of your wealth.
Mr. Patterson,
Yes.
when it comes on to communication, no, so the MPs will be given access to media, right?
Yes,
So
all candidates.
who is going to pay for those?
So all of these things are publicly paid for. So there will no longer be any private money in the electoral process. The PSOJ will not be able to give the parties any money, nor give any candidates any money. The parties themselves will not be able to spend any money on the campaign.
So who's going to spend the money?
The government is going to spend the money. So we're going to allocate to every candidate equal amount of funding for the same access. So for example, give you an example. When we're having the public debate, all candidates for the particular position will be invited and given any support they need to attend the debate. So, for example, transportation, makeup artists, a suit of clothes if they don't have any, whatever it takes, they'll be given the basics to attend the debate comfortably. Town hall meetings. The town hall meetings will be scheduled in the communities, and all the candidates again will be invited, and they will get equal time on stage to speak and to share and to answer questions from the candidate.
So your government will accept donations from private sector or individuals for election purposes?
Well, we can accept donation, but with or without donation, it will be it's a part of our tax system that will publicly fund the elections of candidates. And this will be very inexpensive because of the standardization, and you don't have the competition between moneyed interest to give as much money as possible to get their candidates elected. Because it's a standardized process, it will be much cheaper, and it will also ensure that the poor or the lower income candidates will have no disadvantage whatsoever. And the richer candidates will have no advantage because of their wealth.
How often will elections be held?
So you're going to have elections every 4 years for the presidency, every 3 years for the vice presidency, and every 3 years for the representatives, and every 5 years for the senators.
I see. So, what about you won't have local government elections?
No, there will no longer be a distinction between local and central. We'll have one government. Yes.
No local government elections.
There will be no local government period. You will have one government which covers all of the needs of the country, because every parish will be treated equally, and every community. You won't have what we have now, which is the distinction for the corporate area versus the other areas. Every area will be entitled to proper road maintenance, sidewalks, street lights, garbage connection, a well-maintained environment, a cleaning and that kind of stuff, landscaping. So we're not going to be treating any part of the country as being superior to any other part of the country.
Yes, I see. And the other thing, well, since we don't have local government, we won't have councillors.
No, you're gonna have what is called community representatives. So what you have as MP right now, and what you have as councillors right now, you're going to merge those into one position called community representative, and the person must be someone who lives or works in the community and is a part of the community life, and will be nominated and elected without interference from outsiders in selecting that person.
Yes.
So it's going to be very different. You're now going to have persons who really are a part of and want the best for the community. They're not there to represent party anymore. They're there to represent the people.
Yes. Give us an idea of what kind of foreign policy you will project.
Okay, good question. So our policy when it comes on to foreign policy, we're a friend of all who is not an enemy of ours. Our goal is to trade with everyone.
Everyone.
Yes, we're here. Our goal is to trade. We're going to trade with every country out there. As long as you're not an enemy of ours, you're a friend of ours. And we'll be working to build a close trade relationship with every country around the world, and in particular, the Caribbean and Africa.
Okay. So you won't have a preference for America, which is our largest trading partner right now?
No, there'll be no preference for America, but there would be logistical opportunities. So, for example, it is much easier to trade with somebody who is just next door to you than somebody who's halfway around the world.
Yes.
But what we won't do is enter into any agreement which limits us to America and retards us in our ability to trade with others.
Okay. Yes, I see. And as you said, it's a free market. It's a free market economy you are going to pursue, right?
Yes, we're going to pursue what we call a free and fair market economy. As you know, Jamaica does not have a free market economy, even though we're told that we do. Jamaica's economy is highly regulated and managed by the government. It is a very centralized economy with the fake or facade of a free market. You ask anybody in Jamaica who wants to do business how easy it is to do so without the government's permission and without having to dance between politicians and the international market. Under a UIC government, you're going to have absolute free reign to engage in business, and the only place for politicians is to make laws to ensure that the market is truly free and truly fair.
Okay. So business won't be regulated.
No, don't listen carefully. You see, regulations can be good or bad. If you have a regulation that, for example, creates opportunities for corruption and kickbacks and what you call now barriers to entry for the small man while giving the big man special privileges, that's a bad regulation. So the goal of your regulation should be to promote a true free and competitive market without any person or any group having the ability to prevent others from actively engaging in that market space. So you're talking about regulations versus regulations. We will have good regulations and we'll get rid of all the bad regulations.
Yes. And how you intend to deal with the financial sector?
Very good. So right now the financial sector is heavily regulated. And you see what is happening in it, right?
Yes.
And the reason why these things happen is because you don't have full competition. What you have is a heavily regulated market where the powers that be can allow their friends to run free while the small man is edged in at every turn and prevented from innovating and coming up with ingenious products for the market. If we had a truly free market, you would have greater diversity of investment opportunities. You will have more banking opportunities and easier access to banking. You will have more credit available, and you would also have more small man and poor people schemes that are designed and developed to fit their circumstances and their needs, as opposed to what we have now, which is a concentration of banking power in the hands of a few and the forcing of the rest of us to conform or be locked out of that system.
Oh, I see. Yes. So you have dealt with you have dealt with the land issue. You have dealt with the what are some of the, for example, the laws right now. You have observed the government and governments over the years trying to initiate laws to address the crime problem. Let me hear you on the UIC's attempt to deal with the crime problem.
Sure. So Jamaica's crime problem, one of the problems with any problem is is that you can get to a place where you start to focus on the symptom and forget about the cause. So crime in Jamaica, the murder rate, the high rate of other crimes, and the social breakdown, the children fighting in school, all of these are a symptom of something. And that something is called bad governance. And that bad governance started with our enslavement as a people, followed by, in the late 1930s, two political parties being sponsored by the plantocracy, by the wealthy plantation owners and the colonial powers. And they used those two parties to get rid of Marcus Garvey and his party, and then taught us, the people of Jamaica, to stop fighting against the crown and to start fighting each other under the banner of JLP and PNP, green and orange. To the point where we migrated from using sticks and stones to machetes and knives and then to guns. Okay? And so this is the genesis of our crime problem, including the fact that these two political parties imported guns into this country and gave it to our young men and created gangs and empowered those gangs with government contracts and made them powerful to the point where they then became semi-autonomous by way of the drug trade. And this now has created a masterful, organized criminal syndicate that spans the world, with Jamaica as its epicenter. Now, if we're going to solve the crime problem, we must first understand that genesis and realize that the first thing we can do is to get rid of those who started the problem. Because we cannot use the creators of the crime problem to stop it, because they are complicit and they are implicated by it. So if they were to truly try to undo what they have done, then they themselves may be found wanting and could be dragged before the courts and go to prison. Mm-hmm. So our first crime plan as a nation, not as a political party now, our first crime plan as a nation must begin with dealing out justice to those who create the problem by dismissing the two parties. When we dismiss both of them, we have now given our country the space, the breathing room, to now dig into and solve the problem. If you have them there in the seat, then they have the power and the incentive to interrupt the process, to pervert justice, if you will, which they have been doing for years now, because they have protected. You even have prime ministers who have attended the funerals of notorious criminals who were killed. You know that?
Yes, sir.
So we cannot turn a blind eye to this and then asking for crime plan, crime plan, crime plan. You can't ask the fox to give you a crime plan for protecting the chicken. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So that's the first level. Now, once we elect a new party, one with the moral authority to address the problem, one that is not tainted by the history of our crime problem, they must begin, that party, that movement, must begin from the top down. So we must investigate how many of our Jamaican citizens who are wealthy came by their wealth. We must find out and forensically investigate, where did that wealth come from? How can you substantiate it? How can a prime minister with a lifetime in politics substantiate the massive amount of wealth accumulated over that period? When nobody, no ordinary Jamaican in his age group who have done better than him by going into industry and working very hard and have invested their little money, have not been able to acquire such level of wealth. Let us investigate these people. Investigate the leadership of the police, the leadership of the judiciary, the leadership of the private sector, the leadership of our government. Go back into their records and check and see if those wealth can be substantiated. And I can assure you, if we do that, we will quickly find that much of what we now have as wealth by many persons can be traced back to the proceeds of crime. And that will begin the elimination process. You know, if you cut off the head of the snake, The body can't do nothing.
Okay. I would like to thank you very much. You know, we have to continue this discussion, of course, because you are introducing new insights, new concepts. You know. So I want to thank you this afternoon and let you know that this platform is open for us to discuss these issues.
Wonderful. Will you send me a link to your program so I can see when you air these? Because I haven't seen any yet. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
Please send me your link.
Yes,
Thank you.
I will send it. I will send it to you.
Appreciate it. And thanks again for having me. It was a pleasure. All the best.
Sir.
Take care.
That was Mr. Joseph Patterson, the leader of the United Independence Congress. And we are talking about his party and what his policies will be. What kind of politics we will see from a new political party. Let us go for a break. This is Rebel Radio.
Touch the rebel in you, and the rebel in you can touch a rebel in me, and the rebels we be is gonna set us free. Then it will bring out the rebel, bring out the rebel, bring out the rebel in me. The lover in you can touch the lover in me, and the lover in me can touch a lover in you, and the lovers we be will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in me. Come on, because you got the portion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you. Let the lover in you touch the lover in you.
There's not a broken vessel that God can't make. The thief was down to his last breath, hanging there and can't quit. When he turned to the master and said, Lord of mercy on me, he was just a broken vessel. Then Jesus washed away his sins, 'cause there's none a broken vessel that God can make. Oh, there's none a broken vessel God can't make. Yeah. When the whole world turns its back on you, Jesus will be your friend. He will pick up all the pieces, time and time again, 'cause there's not a broken vessel that God can't make. Lord Almighty, Jesus sees the potter, and we are just the clay. And even when the vessel is broken, he won't throw the clay away. Bring him all of your borders, your troubles and your sins, 'cause there's none a broken vessel Almighty God can make. There's none a broken vessel that God can make. When the whole world turns its back on you, Jesus will always be your friend. He will pick up all the pieces, time and time again. 'Cause there's not a broken vessel that God can make. There's not a broken vessel that God can make. When the whole world turns back on you, Jesus will always be your friend. He will pick up all the pieces, time and time again. 'Cause there's not a broken vessel God can make.
Russians here with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Shenyang, everyone say wear a mask with the numbers drop. I don't want COVID, lay you down flat. Nose and mouth, you fi cover up that. Oh, 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 oh. Sanitize or get hospitalized. Fight the virus, then fight for your life, yeah. Nobody talk about say you no response no more. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you're not happy. You can still get the virus from somebody. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you're not happy. You can still get the virus. So keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people you're around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people you're around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive.
Can't even walk, without you holding my hand. I thought number one would surely be me. I thought I could be what I wanted to be. I thought of myself as a mighty big man, but I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Thank you, Jesus. Can't even walk without you holding my hand. The mountain's too high and the valley is too wide. On my knees, I've learned to stay. That I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Help me, Jesus. Ah, yeah. Oh, Lord, yeah. Oh, yeah. I thank God I made Jesus my one and all. From now on this day, I'm surely gonna call. And if I don't trust it, I'd be less than a man. Cause I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Oh Lord, can't even walk without you holding my hand. The mountain's too high and the valley is too wide. Would surely be me. I thought I could be what I wanted to be. I thought of myself as a mighty big man, but I can't even walk without you holding my hand. I can't even walk without you holding. Mountain is too high and the valley is too wide. Down on my knees, I've learned to stay.
station with the hottest station with the hottest music.
I just got me a deal with that. So what I want, my friend George Dukes? Why, Richie Steven? With us there, I did the almighty praises. And the best thing that, cause when I remember just where I am coming from to where I'm standing now, fell to my knees in praise of your name, thanking you, Lord, every step of the way. Oh, Father, you know I love you. You touch my heart, my soul with your mercy. I thank you, my Lord, for all you've done for me. You bless my life in so many ways. No, I will never, ever leave you. I won't be ungrateful to you, my Lord. I know that this world is all in your hand. We are your children, and so we give you praise. Oh, Father, you know I love you. You touch my heart, my soul with your mercy. I thank you, my Lord, for all you've done for me. You bless my life in so many ways. Father, I love in so many ways. Oh, Lord. So when I remember just where I'm coming from, hey, to where I'm standing now, fell to my knees in praise of your name, thanking you, Lord, every step of the way. Oh, Father, you know I love you. You touch my heart, my soul with your mercy. I thank you, my Lord, for all you've done for me. You bless my life in so many ways. Oh, I will never, ever leave you out. I won't be ungrateful to you, my Lord. I know that this world is all in your hands. We are your children, and so we give you praise. Oh, Father, you know I love you. You touch my heart, my soul with your mercy. I thank you, my Lord, for all you've done for me. You bless my life in so.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty of Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty of Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics lasts forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep we
eat.
island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty of Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica.
Lord, I'm ready. Lord, I'm ready. I'm ready. my shield from my enemies. In your loving home, that's where I got to be. To stay within your grace for the rest of my day. Lord, I'm ready for your calling. I know you will let me when I'm falling. With all the obstacles that's in my way, you move them all away. Lord, I'm ready for your calling. I know you will let me when I'm falling. With all the obstacles that's in my way, oh gosh, you move them all away. Lord, I turn to you when I'm in need. Your love is just like the air I breathe. Heavenly Father, you're truly a friend indeed. There is so much that I got to say. I could go on about you every day. Your name I will always praise for the rest of my days. Rest of my days. Rest of my days. Heavenly Father, yeah. Lord, I'm ready for your calling. I know you will let me when I'm falling. With all the obstacles that's in my way, you move them all away. Lord, I'm ready for your calling. I know you will let me when I'm falling. With all the obstacles that's in my way, you move them all away. Your grace is all that carries me. Through the dark, you shine your light so I can see. Even when I was down on my knees, you set me free there. Lord, you bring my shield from my enemies. In your loving home, that's where I got to be. To stay within your grace for the rest of my day. Lord, I'm ready for your calling. I know you will let me when I'm falling. With all the obstacles that's in my way, you move them all away. Lord, I'm ready for your calling. I know you will let me when I'm falling. With all the obstacles that's in my way, you move them all away.
One, two, three, two more. 1, 2. Adults to 30 minutes activity daily. Love your body, treat your body right. Vegetables, make sure you eat plenty. Children do 60 minutes activity daily. Drink some water when you feel thirsty. Cut down dessert and have a smoothie. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Listen up. Make sure you know your health status. Go a doctor and get a regular checkup. Chronic disease can slowly creep up. We can lower the risk and live up. If we just eat right and get moving, jumping, running, dancing or skipping. Change the children, them lazy habit. Make them play out the door and put down the tablet. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Jamaica get moving. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. After 2, make me hear you say I love me. 1, 2. I love me. 1, 2. I love me. 1, 2. I love me. After 2, make me hear you say I love me. 1, 2. I love me. 1, 2. I love me. 1, 2. I love me. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Jamaica get moving. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now.
Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Listen up.
Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right.
Sorrows, questions for tomorrow. There's been time I didn't know right from wrong, but in every situation, God gave me consolation that my trials come to make me strong. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His words. I've been to lots of places, seen so many faces. There were times I felt so all alone, but in my lonely hours, hours, Jesus let me know that I am His own. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His words. Thank God for the mountains, thank Him for the valleys, thank Him for the storms He brought me through. 'Cause if I didn't have problems, I wouldn't know that God could solve them. I wouldn't know what faith in God could do. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His word. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff that comfort me. Though the wicked will come upon me to eat up my flesh, they will stumble and fall. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to put my trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His word. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to put my trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His word.
Jamaica,
best decision ever.
Feel the sand between your toes and the gentle waves of the sea on your skin. Feel the warm Jamaican breeze lift your spirits and nourish your soul. Escape to exactly what makes your heart beat. You will love every moment. Jamaica, heartbeat of the world. Let's go.
What is to be will be. Come me just a come. Come me just a come. And me no want no botheration. Come me just a come. Come me just a come. And me no want no botheration. Come me just a come. Me said that come me just a come. Me no want no botheration. Come me just a come. Come me just a come. And me no want no botheration. To hear Jordan roll, roll Jordan roll, roll Jordan roll. I want to go to heaven when I die, just to hear River Jordan roll. Soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. One bright morning, when this life is over, I fly away home. To her home on God's celestial shore, I fly away home. Fly away home to glory. Fly away home. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I fly away home. Glory, hallelujah, by and by. Fly away home. Fly away home. I will fly, yeah, fly away home. I will fly, I will fly away home.
Ever wanted to share what you know about a crime, but were too afraid? At Crime Stop, we make it easy for you to report on crimes safely and 100% anonymously. All it takes is 4 simple steps. First, contact the tip line at 311 or visit www.crimestop.org or www.311tips.com. Then share what you know anonymously with one of our trained counselors. Any information related to criminal activity is accepted. We don't want to know your identity. We don't record calls or use star 69, and there is no way of tracing tips over the phone or online. You'll also be given a file number for your tip. Next, track the progress of your tip by calling our tip line at 311 and quoting your file number. Finally, if your tip leads to success, you will be eligible for a cash reward. Rewards will be paid out upon request through a trusted disbursement agency with verification process to ensure that your identity remains hidden. Share what you know anonymously. Contact Crime Stop today.
Amazing grace, how sweet, sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Yes, welcome back to Rebel Radio. You know, we have been talking about corruption, political corruption in the country. You know, to be a good to look at 60 years of political corruption in Jamaica. We have with us, you know, one of our well-known contributor, Mr. Lucius. Lucius, are you there?
Yeah, man, White.
Yes, Mr. Lucius White, yes. So, I'm sure that you have been following what happened to with the Prime Minister's saga.
Yeah.
You know, and based on what I have seen so far, the quarrel seems to be that the Prime Minister was not treated specially, because the comments, a lot of comments now were for heads to roll at the Integrity Commission, because the Integrity Commission is being blamed for not submitting the corruption prosecutor's report along with the investigative report. And I don't know if you saw it, but the Integrity Commission issued a statement today pointing out that based on the law which governs them, it could not be done that way. What is your take on what has happened so far?
My take that the whole thing was intended to be a show, and you end up with a show.
Yeah.
Because I cannot see the logic in a situation where an investigation which is dating back to 2006 is just reaching a point where it can be prevented anywhere.
Yes.
That's one. Two, the system that has been created in the Integrity Commission, where you have a CEO who has no function other than being a conduit, because you have a director of investigation, which should have some independence, and you have a director of prosecution, and the CEO merely passed the report from the investigator to the prosecutor, who may decide not to prosecute, and all the contribution from the CEO is to send the report up to Parliament.
Yes.
Now, it is my opinion that all of this rearrangement is not by accident. Christie had a big, strong reputation before he came back.
Yes.
Now, he came back in a situation where he was not only hobbled, but he was muzzled.
Yes.
Now, my problem is that he took the job under those conditions. Having taken the job in those conditions, you get what you get now, where he's now being blamed because one report was not dealing with another report and those kind of foolishness. And the matter don't end there, you know, because the director of prosecution in the Integrity Commission is not a protected post like the director of public prosecution. So if that person had the guts to prefer charges against the Prime Minister, heads would have rolled anyway. And if in self-preservation they decide not to prosecute, then the Prime Minister and others can truthfully say no charges have been laid, so he has been exonerated. Even though the words used in the director of prosecution is that although there is evidence that supports the conflict of interest, she would not go with prosecution because of the delay. No, it was obvious that the delay is there.
Yes.
So why bother with the charade of doing a report when you are going to come to the conclusion that you're not going to prosecute anyway? So in my opinion, the whole thing is one big charade, like the Integrity Commission itself. Because the Integrity Commission has been so hobbled and things that it cannot really be effective. But it is there to be a kingmaker, where reports can come to it, which it is under no obligation to show to the public. But of course, you have impact on the people who are directly involved. So in my opinion, the public interest would be best served to completely disband the Integrity Commission, get rid of the Governor General, and to get rid of those farcical institutions which contribute nothing but to endorse what they want.
Yes.
So that is my position on the matter. It has nothing to. It was never ever intended to get results. It is intended to give validity to what it is, to whatever people do. So they say that you have these institutions and they protect integrity of the system. No such thing.
Yes.
Painful as it is, but that is the reality.
Mm-hmm. And I see where the Labour Party, through its General Secretary, says that they have lost faith in the Integrity Commission. But I would like to say though, Lush, that I would have to commend the Integrity Commission for the fact that they did investigate the report against the Prime Minister, and that I would say is some evidence that they are. On
the contrary, I don't join that school, you know.
Yes.
Guess why? That investigation wasn't started by the Integrity Commission. That investigation started when there was a contractor general that thought it had teeth.
Yes.
So the Integrity Commission is to show me what they have done since they have come into being.
Yes.
And then, having taken up what was started by the old contractor general, the prosecutor clearly stated that they would not go into prosecution because of the time, which would make prosecution very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than go through that, they would just validate what go on. And so that is why I said the whole thing is farcical.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You see, we are inclined to set up things for optics, not for effectiveness. And when you do that sort of thing, chickens will come to roost. And what is true is that the laws and things are not really equitable for all. There is a different standard of justice for one set compared to another.
Well,
we have too many cases where we see a tardiness or lethargy as far as going into prosecution is concerned. While when others are involved, it can be very robust and vigilant.
Yes, because I would have to agree with you that because even the last report before for member of parliament, former member of parliament, Ian Ailes, that took 6 years. It's 6 years. Well, I know that he had he went to court and get the court to prevent the dissemination of his report, but that matter took 6 years. So one of the things that I think we should focus on is to get the Integrity Commission in a position where it can act speedily. If they want more staff, if they want more resources, then they must be given what is required so that they can act as a true investigative body.
Well, this is the reason why I say the whole thing is a farce.
Yes.
Because if you create an institution and do not equip it to do the job, then what it is just a face card.
Yes.
And this is one of the reasons why I am of the opinion that it cannot be right for us to have a situation where even if the Integrity Commission had decided to prosecute, and even if it initiated prosecution, the Constitution of Jamaica allows the Director of Public Prosecution to intervene at any time take over, and it can stop its prosecution at any stage. So, in my opinion, it makes no sense. If that is the case, strengthen the office of the DPP, and with all matters like that, you send it straight to the DPP, and you get a ruling, and you can expect prosecution. Now, when you have a situation where the DPP is currently acting on extension and further extension, how can one realistically expect that DPP would initiate anything if something comes up against the Prime Minister who have extended our tenure?
Well, that's...
I know I'm not casting aspersion on anybody's integrity, but that is the reality of the situation. People don't bite their hand that feed them.
No.
And if you create a situation where the Constitution said at 60, the post should be vacated, it does make allowance for extension, you know. But we must recognize that in circumstances where the extension is extension, it opens itself to speculation.
Yes, of course.
And of course, regardless of how honest people are, if it can be reasonably said that, you know, you couldn't expect somebody to react to that person, then the position is compromised. And one of the things that extension does, it actually deprives the person who will replace the incumbent by the amount of years that the incumbent is extended.
Yes.
Because at age 60, that person is entitled, well, it's by Constitution, expected to vacate office. So altogether, these things are being used or manipulated, or whether accidental or circumstantial. They have created situation that creates doubt and to the integrity of the system as a whole.
Yes. Lush, there's another issue that has been brought out in this situation. You know, right now, MPs, members of parliament, they are empowered to make recommendations for contractors to do work that is being done in their constituency. So, for example, if they make a if they have a contract, let us use the constituency development fund. Yes, they have a contract to be done in their constituency. They can make the recommendation for the contractor, and therefore this practice, I think, should be changed, because that in itself, you know, is a recipe for cronyism and corruption, you know.
Yes, but all these things are created out of what the people claim they want, you know. Because rather than having government which do work, you do every construct to have minimalist government. So rather than the Public Works Department or the Parish Council having its structure where money is allocated and the money is spent by that body, you deprive them of money, and then you end up having to put some money into a system to allow something to be done at the local level. All these are the result of policy decisions. And we have to recognize that as long as we are prepared to subject the system to minimalist government rather than efficiency in governance, we will get the sort of thing that we are getting. So that rather than your MP being able to look at national issues and look at laws, they get involved in the social aspect of the thing, which should never be his responsibility.
Yes. Whether
it be NIS or whosoever, those funds should be structured through them. And then when somebody comes to the MP can direct them to where the thing is proper, rather than the MP becoming a mini operator.
Yes.
So it is a case of operating what you have designed. But it ought not to be so.
Yeah. There is also another thing I observe. I observe that a large number of members of parliament and senators, they have foundations. Now, then a large number of these foundations are not obeying the rules. So they are not filing their financials. They are supposed to file information to the company's office. And they are not doing that. And therefore, these foundations, they can be used as vehicles to solicit funds, because they are set up, to finance operations in the MP's constituency, right? So, for example, you might have a foundation that is set up to deal with scholarships. No, what I'm saying is that they are not governed and they are not regulated properly, so they can be used as vehicles to solicit funds for constituency operations and for other reasons.
Well, this is the sort of thing where if you had an effective integrity commission, they could investigate each of these, and wherever they are not in compliance with the relevant laws operating within the law, shut them down.
Yes.
But nothing really happens because they are not there to rock the boat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just to use the street term. That's how the thing said.
Yes. We are operating in a very loose environment.
A very dangerous environment.
Yes.
Which allows a level of corruption which will ensure that as a nation we only get poorer. No, nations don't roll over and dead.
Yes.
But they get poorer, and as the destitution increases, you get greater desperation, and the crime will increase, and the barbarity thereof.
Yes.
And these are what we are experiencing.
Yeah.
Because we're not spending enough money to build the schools, we're not employing enough teachers. We set up a system where the children go on a conveyor belt and come out. Who learn, and who not learn. And you go to a high school, and 37% of who come out is illiterate. Now, what you get with a situation like that? Yes. People who are only consumers, they will not have the capacity to meaningfully participate in production in a modern economy. Now, when you have that amount of deadweight, you're bound to have problems.
Yes,
so we have to wake up. The junior secondary school program and what was set up back in the 60s, when they decided to call them high schools, that number couldn't cope with the amount of people who they wanted in high school. So you go and a shift system. And 50 years later, we still have school and shift system. We still have schools with 50 and 40 children at primary level with one teacher. Why you get out of a situation like that? The strong will survive. If you are brilliant, regardless of the situation, you will survive. If you are average or below average, you won't make it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing that is plaguing us. We have school buildings, and between nobody wants to go to the school because of the quality and the output of the school. You have these are underutilized. And all of these things can be corrected because you put the student population, you know the ratio of student to teacher. So you are supposed to employ teacher and set up systems so that they can get to teach.
Yes, sir.
But we have the farce of saying we spend money on education. And look at the percentage of the money intended for education that is plundered by cronies. That is the reality of the numbers.
Yeah. Lucius, look, when you look at, for your raise an issue there, the crime situation, well, you know, one of the things, you know, Lucius, is that every year for the past 20 years, over 1,000 Jamaicans have been murdered. And therefore, I think every Jamaican would like to see a significant change this year. Now, based on where you are, when you take a look at the situation, do you think
we're backing up the wrong tree? We are hoping to use suppression as the means of getting on top of crime, and it won't work.
Mm.
The more money you use to create the instrument of suppression, is the less money you have to make the correction, which will cause you not to have the need to suppress. If we are spending what we are spending on security, and you're buying ships and all kind of configuration, and teachers don't have the remedial teachers to ensure that the children can read. Because if you can't read, you won't be able to comprehend. And if you can't comprehend, you won't be able to do anything. But the system just deals with numbers, pack them on the conveyor, and then you even extend the time where they're supposed to stay in the system. But you don't do anything to ensure that the time in the system is properly utilized. So we are barking up the wrong tree. Anytime you see them make a meaningful attempt to address the teacher to student ratio and to address the quality of teachers in schools. In other words, if you have a good school in your geographic area, anybody going to travel halfway across through the parish to go into another parish to go to a school?
I don't think so.
But everybody quite rightly wants to go to a good school.
Yes.
And it don't matter if the school is at your doorstep. You're going to go past it to try to go to the good school.
Yes.
And so this is how you end up with a kind of elitist system where the better students will strive to go to the better schools. And the other schools end up not only short of personnel, but they become a drag on the society because the children who have been subjected to go to them don't get a fair break.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So all of these things can and should be correct. How you approach approach how you spend money in governance.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say you don't have money to afford education because ignorance is far more expensive.
Yes, sir. And that is where we have to leave it this evening.
All right, listen, bro.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. And keep healthy and safe. That was Mr. Lucius White, our contributor, helping us to understand and to discuss these issues right around the place. We have so many of those, so many issues. Well, let us take another break before we come back for a race in business. That is the big people's business. Okay.
here with a message to you from myself and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Shenyang, everyone say wear a mask, let the numbers drop. I don't want COVID, lay you down flat. Nose and mouth, you fi cover up that. Oh, 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 oh. Sanitize or get hospitalized. Fight the virus, then fight for your life, yeah. Nobody talk about say you no response no more. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you not have it. You can still get the virus from somebody. Don't be reckless, cause your test say you not have it. You can still get the virus. So keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people you're around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Yeah. Keep the numbers down. Protect yourself and the people you're around. COVID in town, 6 feet apart and 6 feet in the ground. Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive.
The station with the artist station with the artist music.
Father God, well, Lord, your love has made me strong, and for that, I'm all yours. Well, Lord of mercy. Oh God, I'll never find the words, the Lord, to tell you how I feel, dear God. Mere words could not explain. Yeah, gracious Lord, you held my life within your hands, created everything I am, taught me how to live again. Only you care when I needed a friend, making my promise. Oh, oh, this song is for you, filled with gratitude and love. Oh Lord, I thank you. You make me feel brand new. For blessing me, I adore you. Almighty God, I love you. I sing this song for you. Father God, I adore you. Yeah. My Lord, whenever I was insecure, you built me up and made me sure. You gave my sense of pride back to me. Only you care when I needed a friend, making my promise. Oh, oh, this song is for you, filled with gratitude and love. I
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
the island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty of Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica, no dirty of Jamaica.
Father God,
Most High,
to you I give all the glory. Yeah. Be not dismayed, whatever betide, God will take care of you.
hear that?
Beneath his wings of love abide, God will take care of you. God will take care of you through every day, all the way.
Mercy.
He will take care of you. God will take care of you. No matter what may be the test, God will take care of you. Lean everyone about the Lord, and He will take care of you.
Mercy.
God will take care of you through every day, all the way. He will take care of you. God will take care of you. Lord of mercy. No matter what sickness it may be, yeah. No matter what problems you going through, no matter how rough it may be, the Lord promises He will ever take care of you. So God will take care of you.
Mercy.
Through every day, all the way. He will take care of you. God will take care of you. Be not dismayed, whatever betide, God will take care of you.
Hear that?
Beneath his wings of love abide, God will take care of you. God will take care of you through every day, all the way. He will take care of you.
3, 2 more, 1, 2. I does the 30 minutes activity daily. Love your body, treat your body right. Vegetables, make sure you eat plenty. Children do 60 minutes activity daily. Drink some water when you feel thirsty. Cut down dessert and have a smoothie. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Listen up. Make sure you know your health status. Go a doctor and get a regular checkup. Chronic disease can slowly creep up. We can lower the risk and live up if we just eat right and get moving. Jumping, running, dancing or skipping. Change the children, them lazy habit. Make them play out the door and put down the tablet. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Jamaica get moving. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. After 2, make me hear you say I love me. 1, 2. I love me. 1, 2. I love me. 1, 2. I love me. After 2, make me hear you say I love me. 1, 2. I love me. 1, 2. I love me. 1, 2. I love me. Jamaicans, love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Jamaica get moving. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. One more time now. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Just eat right. Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right. Listen up.
Love your body, treat your body right. Love your body, treat your body right.
Jamaica.
Best decision ever.
Feel the sand between your toes and the gentle waves of the sea on your skin. Feel the warm Jamaican breeze lift your spirits and nourish your soul. Escape to exactly what makes your heart beat. You will love every moment. Jamaica, heartbeat of the world. Let's go.
Just believe right now, and they'll do it again. You may be down and feel like God has somehow forgotten, yeah, that you are faced with circumstances so hard to get through. Right now it seems there's no way out, and you're going under. Yeah, God's proven time and time again, He'll take care of you, and He'll do it again. He'll do it again. Just take a look where you were now and where you have been. He always come through for you. He's the same now as then. So you may not know how, may not know when, but He'll do it again. God knows the things you're going through. He knows that you're hurting. He sees and knows just how your heart has been broken in two. But he is God, God of the stars, the sand and the seas. He is the one who will take care of you, and he'll do it again. He'll do it again. Just take a look where you are now, where you have been. He always comes through for you. He's the same now as then. Now, so you may not know how, may not know when, but he'll do it again. God knows the things you're going through. He knows that you're hurting. He sees and knows just how your heart has been broken in two. But he is God, God of the stars, the sand and the seas. He is the one who will take care of you, and he'll do it again. He'll do it again. Just take a look where you are now, where you have been. He always comes through for you. He's the same now as then. Now, you may not know how, may not know when, but he'll do it again. You may not know how, may not know when, but he'll do it again. Lord of mercy, you may not know how, may not know when, but he'll do it again. Don't you worry, you may not know how, may not know when, but he'll do it again.
Do it for your best life. Do it. Go check your HIV status. Do it. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me, I tell yourself, do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan. Do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Do it. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life. Do it.
Oh Lord my God, when I'm in awesome wonder, consider all thy works thy hand doth make. I see the stars, I hear the mighty thunder, thy power throughout the universe display. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When through the woods, the forest glades I wander, and hear the birds sing sweetly in the trees. When Then I look down from lofty mountain grandeur and hear the brook and feel the gentle breeze. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to me. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to me. How great thou art, how great thou art.
Dr. Wright is there? Yes. Welcome back to Rebel Radio. And it's time for our beloved Friday evening program, you know. It's racing business. Racing business, big people's business with Dr. Paul Wright and trainer Wells Sutar. Dr. Wright? I'm not hearing Dr. Wright. Welsh, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. We're waiting on Dr. Wright. Yes, so this is a program that gives you all the information how to win big money at the track, you know. And we give you all the information that you need. Is Dr. Wright is there now? Hello, Dr. Wright. Not seeing him.
Are you hearing me?
Oh, I'm hearing you now, Dr. Wright.
Well, welcome.
Yes. Yeah, and you have, we have Welch Sutar here we have trainer with us. Trainer.
Master trainer. Yes, I'm here. Master trainer.
All right. Good. So without further ado, I now hand over to you gentlemen. Take it away.
Good. Welcome and good afternoon. It's racing business, big people business on Rebel Radio. And we have 9 races for you on Saturday. No races on Sunday. Remember, we have 3 race meets coming up next week. We have Wednesday, Ash Wednesday racing, Saturday and Sunday. So look forward to a big carnival of racing from Kim and us. 9 races tomorrow. We start at 12 midday. The feature race is race number 7, the Reggae Mounts Trophy. 3-year-olds and up, open allowance horses going 5 furlongs straight. Only 6 horses going to the post. And remember that they are 6 very, very good horses. The sprinters galore going 5 furlongs straight. And we have all the top trainers and the jockeys being involved in this one. Anthony Thomas and Laban, T. Foster on Curlin's Affair, Robert Hardball Hallidine on Duke, Omar Walker, Lero of Lucy, Dane Dawkins is on God of Love, and Taurus Boy has Jay Barrett riding there for the maestro, Philip Piani. But the first race on the program, we get on the way at 12 noon. This race for 4-year-olds and up, optional claiming 200 to 250,000. 9 horses are declared. The Catch 9 starts here. Only 9 races on tap tomorrow. And all the betting opportunities are available in race number 1. The double event. Exacta, criminal trifecta, superfecta, high 5. And never ever forget that lucrative rolling triple. 9 horses on top. And here are my top 4 horses in race number 1. Number 1, My Mom Just. From the specialist over the straight 5, but a competent rider. Samantha has had 2 wins already. This year, out of 23 rides, she rides number 1, My Mom Just. Number 4, Divine Lexi with Devin Foster. He is on 12 wins for the year. Number 7 is Silent Cat with Roddy Hewitt. This little apprentice here is doing very well. And on the wide outside, War of the Roses. Rand Lewis riding there for Ian Alexander, who trains for Henley Wilson. And remember that this one, coming out of the Anthony Nunes barn, where he won over $250,000 back on the 2nd of January. So my top 4 here in the first race, 1, 4, 7, and 9. I think that War of the Roses has the credentials to beat this one, has already won in the group, and I'm going to number 9 in the first race, War of the Roses. Trainer Suta, who do you like?
I'm going to go with number 8, undecided. Undecided one and off the race, and should be made fitter after that win. I think number 8, undecided, will beat My Mom Just and Silent Cat, number 7. 8,
that is
7.
8 going to beat number 1 and number 7, Silent Cat, and that is for Well Suitor. And I'm going to number 9, War of the Roses. The second race of the program is for native bet 3-year-olds, non-winners of 2. They go 6 furlongs or 1,200 meters, and only 7 declared here. The pick 4 start here, and remember that this race has some new firms coming out. These horses not seen any work in the race book, but they have been working at the track. Don't know what has happened to the information there, but here are my top 4 horses in race number 2. Number 1, Burlap, Champion Jockey. Dane Dawkins riding here for Richie Azan. Number 4, Bootylicious, Ryan Lewis, looking for a double. He rides here for Ian Prasad. Number 5, Platinum Force with Bibita Harvey and Philip Fiani. They're going for ACK Stables. That one, Platinum Force. And on the wide outside, another force from the same owner-trainer combination, but this time the champion jockey, ex-champion jockey Anthony Thomas, riding here for Inspire Force. My top 4 here, 1, 4, 5, and 7. Number 7, not sure what is going on. A good-looking horse, fast striding and should run very well. But based on the information that I have, the race is between number 4, Bootylicious, and number 5, Platinum Force. Platinum Force walked out the box the last time and won pace over the straight in 7 furlongs behind Divine Force. And I thought this one was just biding its time. Bootylicious, comfortable win the last time in Ryan Lewis. He's looking for a double. And of course, Inspire Force, we don't know much about that. But in the second race, I'm going to number 4, Bootylicious, to get the better of Platinum Force and Inspire Force. Welch.
Yes, Paul. I think Bootylicious won handily. Maybe had a little problem, but the trainer waited patiently and waited for this one. Bootylicious will get the better of Burn Up, number 1, and number 5, third, Platinum Force.
415 for a trainer Well Suitor, and it's good to hear the connections there. Very good. We're getting trainer Suitor out loud and clear. Race number 3. We'll go over the straight 5 furlong straight. 9 horses declared now, and this one is for the 3-year-olds and up. Optional claiming 450 to 550,000. The pick 5 starts here, where you have to get the winners of race 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And one of the ways you can do that is you hear the selections of Well Suitor, myself, and your own selection, and make those your 3 bets in these 5 races. But let's get right on my top 4 in race number 3. I'm going to number 1, Sir Kel with Trevor Simpson. Slicer is back to his best. I think the Slicer Simpson, Trevor Simpson, many time champion jockey, his judge of pace is what makes him a standout among the local riders here. He rides Sir Ken in this one for Ryan Darby. Number 2, Raw Liquid with Philip Parchment. 4, Gordon Lewis. Gordon Lewis doesn't have many horses in his stable, but he produces them at excellent times. Number 3, Bull Sammy with Anthony Allen. And on the wide outside, number 7, City Council with Roman Pierre. 1, 2, 3, and 7. And in the third race, Raw Liquid. Now that is my little outer of the week, outer of the day, because this one, I think, is capable of running 58 and change up the straight 5 and badly drawn. There is no doubt about that. The outside horse, the council, has a better draw. It's going to 49 kilos, so should run well. But I'm edging here and putting a nice little bet on Raw Liquid to get the win in the third race over number 1, Sir Kel, number 7, City Council, and number 3, Bull Sammy. Welch.
I'm going to go with number 4, Special Council. Special Council looking for a trick of wins. Special Council was always a better horse than Sir Kel and Raw Liquid at the same age. Special Council for me to get the better of Raw Liquid and Sir Kel.
That's number 4, 2, and 1 for trainer Well Suitor, and he has liked Special Council. The ride of Chris Mandine, and people will remember Chris Mandine is a one-time champion jockey, and I think just needs to get his confidence back, and you'll see him having a lot of winners. Race number 4 at 1:50 p.m. is another straight 5. They're keeping the start down there. This time another 9 horses going to the post with all the betting opportunities. And remember that the Twilight 6 starts here. The winner of race 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And those Twilight 6 can be very lucrative. If you have what you haven't to get in a Twilight 6, listeners, you have to find 1 or 2 bankers. I suggest 2 bankers, and you'll hear from myself and Wells Shooter who possible bankers are. In the 4th race, here are my top 4 horses in race number 4. Number 2, North London, Matthew Bennett riding for Rand Darby. He's going with the 51 kilos, not able to claim the 2, but Rand Darby has stuck with him over the straight 5 here instead of Samantha. So look for that one to run a good race. Number 5, How Go Sue Me with Tevin Foster. They keep putting back this one onto the units. Let me tell you something, folks. This horse will spring a surprise on us. And if you like to buy numbers or cash, but keep a bet on this one. It's going to come good at a good price very, very soon. And look, number 6, Lord Berkington, that's a favorite. Young Powell looking for his 2nd win this year. And number 9, Power of Faith with Javanil Patterson on the outside draw. That'll get a very good chance in this one. So in the 4th race, I'm going with 2, 5, 6, and 9. That's North London. Number 5 is How Go Sue Me, Lord Berkington, and number 9, Power of Faith. I'm going to the favorite. Young Powell should be able to get this one home for Gary Sobrati and Dead CC Racing. This one is just too fast for this group. And in the 4th race, I'm going to number 6, Lord Berkington. Welch?
Number 5, Ago Simi, he has run in the class above the last time. I want the public to make a note of that. I think he ran in the class above. He's down back now where he really belongs. I think he's going to win this race. Number 7, Moses is a horse with a lot of class. So too General Chief. So I'm going to go for 5, 7, and 6. 5, 7, and 8.
5, 7, and 8 in that order. And so he's right about How Go Sue Me. Really went up in the gate and lost a lot at the last time. And good to see young Blake not asking much. And they brought him back here to do a good race tomorrow. Let's move on now to the 5th race of the day. 5.5 furlongs, 1,100 meters. A maiden condition race for native at 4-year-olds and up. The 2nd pick 5 of the day starts here, where you find the winners of 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 14 horses over 5.5 furlongs. It's going to be a cavalry charge to the first bend over there, the 3.5 furlong point. So look for the leaders to punch up a little bit as they head down the straight. Here are my top 5 in race number 4. In the 5th race, here are my top 5 horses. Number 1, Princess Sylvia with Shade Richardson. He should run very well. Number 6 is Rosa the Warrior with Dane Dawkins and Anthony Smith teaming up for this one. And this one, I think, folks, if you look how this horse works in the morning, we can ask more about that, but Rosa the Warrior is going to run a very good race. I remember this race, it was all rage during a heavy downpour one day at the track, and I saw not only rain wetting up a lot of punters, but tears in their eyes because this one didn't need a sloppy track. So keep Rosa the Warrior on the right side. That's number 1, Princess Sylvia. Number 6, Rosa the Warrior. And number 11, and that is Traveler's Lodge. Traveler's Lodge should run bed on the wide outside. Hard ball, Robert Halliday on Rani Bangala for Robert Pearson and WB Racing. So my top 4 in the 5th race, I'm going to number 1, Princess Sylvia. That's a nice outsider. Number 6, Rosa the Warrior. Number 11, Traveler's Lodge with Javan Townsend. And 14, Rana Bangala. Rana Bangala is superior to this group, and I have no doubt in this one. It will be an odds-on favorite. I think will be a big one. It ought work with our Angel back on Saturday. I think it's last month. And really excited everybody over the straight 5, Rani Bangala. I'm going to number 14 in the 5th race. Welsh.
Number 5, Unza. Unza was a disqualified winner. So in racing terms, we'll say is a winner without a penalty. Unza came back and worked very well. I think Unza have some class that we haven't seen already. So I'm going to go with Unza to win on top of number 11 and number 14, Rani Bangala. It will be one of the Pearson boys will run second. I think these boys will try to run first and second, but Hunter will get the better of them.
Yeah, good to see Chris Pearson now coming to his own with his very small string of horses. Yes. Race number 6 goes off at 3 o'clock. 5 furlongs round, 1,000 meters round, a maiden condition race and need to bet 3 holes. 14 horses are declared, and we'll hope all 14 will go to the post. A lot of no information on some of the exercise horses out of this one, but Welch will tell us more about that. He's down there in the morning, and in the 6th race, I'm going to be telling you who I fancy in this one. Number 1, Kismet, with Richard Henry, looking for his first win, this time for Stephen Todd. A combination here that has me believing that Kismet needs 51 kilos. That's why Richard Henry has the mount on this one. Number 3, Smooth Aviator with Roger Hewitt. Number 4, the much raced Whiskey with Robert Halliday. And number 12, Natural Dancer with Ryan Lewis and Robert Pearson, teaming up again for this one for the Houston stable. Says 1, 3, 4, and 12. Kismet, I think, is faster than this group, and I'm going to number 1, Kismet, to get the better of number 12 and number 3. Revch.
Well, this is not being a race, and we have some first-time runners who we know nothing about, really. But Kismet should have chance for the number 1 draw, but I think us will circle Kismet. Number 5, Babla from the Azan. But Azan never usually win on a first-time run. I always run to get the experience. I will win the second time out. So we'll expect a good run from Babla. Number 7 is my horse of the day. This is what you would call a cook food special. Cosmic Force out of the piano stable with Mullins. This horse is working like a trade. This horse will not lose. This horse is a 5-star banker. Number 12, Natural Dance is a first-time runner, also working well. So too Ill the Admiral with Anthony Thomas. So to the 7 over 12, 13, 5. You can get the winner for it, but 7 is a banker in this one.
Okay.
Cosmic Force.
And folks, remember I told you about your pick 6 and your exotic back. Look for a banker. You heard one from trainer who is down there in the morning. Cosmic Force with ASA Key Stables and Philip Fiani. They had some good ones running earlier. Look how they performed. And in race 6, a banker for your Cosmic Force in race number 6. The 7th race of the day, coming back over the straight 5. Open allowance horses now, going 5 furlong straight. Only 6 of them were declared here. And here are my top 3 in race number 7. I'm going to number 1, Laban. Number 4, Lair of Lucy. And number 5, God of Love. Speed upon speed upon speed. They are all coming over to the middle of the racetrack. I don't think one gate is going to be up against the far rail, and therefore it's going to negate some of the advantages that the outside horses have. So it's 1, 4, and 5. I think God of Love is just too fast for them. Lair of Lucy is going to run very well, and Laban is very light. Exciting race. Worth a trip to the park, but I'm going to number 5 to get the better of 1 and 4 in the 7th race. Welch.
I don't think God of Love with 57 kilo will get the better of Laban and Taurus Boy. It will be Laban over Taurus Boy and God of Love for me. Laban.
4, 6, and 5. 4 for Well Suitor.
1, Laban.
It's number 8. This one over 7.5 furlongs for the big claimers. 1,000,000 to 800,000 claimers. 11 of them declared here. All the betting opportunities are available in this one. And in the 8th and penultimate, here are my top 4. And these top 4 folks are worth the bet. They're what I call my box lunch special. Number 2, Mind That Cat. Number 6, I Links with Ryan Lewis. He's having some good rides tomorrow. Make a note of all his horses. Number 9, Daddy Jones, the favorite with Anthony Thomas. And on the outside, Ras Emanuel with Dane Dawkins. Let me tell you something about Ras Emanuel, folks. I believe Ras Emanuel is one of those horses that win whenever the trainer it needs some cash. It comes down to 1 million, wins and goes back up. Come down to 1 million, wins and goes back up. It's down here at the $1 million claimer. So look for a good run from Ras Emanuel, number 10. But I will think that I Links is a very good. Claimed the last time for 750 up here for Peter Smith, who owns and trains this one. I'm going to number 6 in race number 8 to get the better of 9 and 10. Welch?
I love Sir John to win this. when these trainers claim these horses from the big team, they always come back with that back. They get special attention. They're going to the number one stall at the stable and get real good treatment, first-class treatment, because it becomes the big horse in the stable. I think Sir John will get the better of Daddy Jones and 3 times lucky.
And 3 times lucky. Folks, just to tell you, 3 times lucky.
194.
Is number 4 with Jordan Barrett on the inside. The dig-out handicap is the 9th and final. Restricted allowance 4 for native bet 4-year-olds and up. They must be non-winners of 3. The imported ones, non-winners of 2. 6.5 furlongs of 1,300 meters. All the betting opportunities. This is how you leave the track with cash. Because this is where I didn't give you who my cooked food special was. So let me go back and tell you quickly. In the 5th race is number 14. That's my cooked food special. But in the 9th race, here are my top 4 horses in race number 9. Number 1, Real Boss. Omar Walker is riding like the old-time Omar Walker. Whatever problems he had seems to be over. This is the new Omar Walker. Keep his mounts every time you see them out. Number 4, Alexa Secret with 7 Townsend. Robert Pearson has some good chances tomorrow. Number 7, Shadowfax, that will be the favorite. And number 3, Talona. 1, 3, 4, and 7. Talona, faster than this group. Anthony Thomas and Philip Fiani come finish into this one. The last time, I don't know what happened the last time. How KP Child could catch this one over the straight 5, to me, is a mystery. But over 6.5 furlongs, is it to be relaxed? I'm going to number 3, Talona, to get the better of Shadowfax, and number 1, The Real Boss. Welch?
I think The Real Boss is giving some problems. My personal opinion is that I feel that horse is bleeding inside. You run good today at Fairport tomorrow. Worse good today at Fairport. So I'll draw a line through that until I see improvement. Rum Puncher is a horse that is well programmed for this. Talona should be the favorite and should really be hard to beat. But there's a horse number 13, Rainsville. Rainsville ran a blinder in this class. He went up in the class above and didn't do well. But Rainsville should win. Should try to run down Talona. And maybe that's the Quinella. So I love the outer. Rainsville to get the better of Talona and Rum Puncher.
And number 2, Rum Puncher. Well, there you have the chances on the races today. We have in one race here, let me give you my best bet of the day. The 5th race, I'm going to number 14, and that is Rana Bangali. Suter gave you his bet of the day in the 6th race. Number 7, Cosmic Force, and you heard all our selections. So, good luck tomorrow. We have racing on Wednesday, and next Friday will be another edition of Racing Business. Big people business trainer Suter and your cook food specialist, Dr. Paul. Back now to Desmond in the studio.
The guru.
Listen to the programs. Keep listening to Rebel Radio. Listen to the music and the programs, rebroadcast of the programs for those who missed the live broadcast. Want to thank our guests today, and thank our listeners and viewers. And a big thank you to our technical operator, Bishop Gordon. Until Monday, when we will be back with live programs, you have a good weekend and stay safe. This is Rebel Radio, and I'm Desmond Richards.